The member for Balmain seeks the call, seeks leave to speak. I'm sure that the members here will support that his request for leave. Is that granted? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Temporary Speaker. I rise to speak in strong support of this motion from the member for Sydney, which does not provide, in principle, support for marriage equality, which does not send a message to anybody about marriage equality. What it does is it highlights the importance of the support from prominent people from all sides of politics and different faiths on the issue. That has been highlighted by the member's motion, which is welcoming, as I do now, the Right Reverend Jean Robinson, the former Bishop of New Hampshire, and a significant guest to this House. I also acknowledge Reverend Ben Gilmore from the Paddington Uniting Church and Malcolm McPherson from the Australian Marriage Equality New South Wales, the convener. I also know the Uniting Church in my electorate, the Uniting Church in Balmain, is similar, I suspect, to Paddington, to the extent that it is an open, loving, committed church, a church of faith, and a church which I have had a great deal to do with. In particular, I note the role of Reverend Nicole Fleming, the leadership of that church, Les McDonald, Ben Lorshi and Francis Milne. They're people that have had a very powerful influence and a very accepting church and a positive view in our community, developing positive views in our community of GLBTI people. I think it's important as well that when we look at these local issues, it's something that I've been confronted with. Obviously, as the Mayor of Leichhardt Council, people will know that in Leichhardt it's got a very strong and historic lesbian history. We funded in 2008 a lesbian and gay history of Leichhardt, which I recommend people look at. It demonstrates the contribution that gay and lesbian people have made to our community, and it's something which I think we should all recognise in our own community. And I also wanted to mention Indigenous, gay, lesbian and bisexual, trans sister girl identifying people at Bamali Arts Cooperative in 2009, another project that the Council supported. We can see that people in the gay and lesbian community's contribution is broad, it's wide, as diverse as the community is, with local communities can embrace all of those elements and recognise the strong contribution it makes to the community. I think it's also important to say, to note the welcoming of this guest in terms of the symbolism. I note that for the first time in 2010 at Leichhardt Council, we flew
Excuse me for a minute, member. Order. Everyone, could you please just be quiet in the House?
We flew the rainbow flag above the Town Hall to acknowledge that symbolically, but I think the important point here is to address issues that have been raised, for example, by the member for Riverstone and others, that this is not a motion about marriage equality. I wish it was. I wish it was a motion about marriage equality, but it isn't. We know that Adam Bandt in the Federal Parliament, the Greens member for Melbourne, is moving a piece of legislation which he hopes to have endorsed by the Federal Parliament on this matter. I know that this issue raises sensitivities amongst some, and I commend actually the member of Sydney for being so flexible, because the original motion is 1,000 miles away from the motion we have before us today. The motion before us today, it notes that not all members of Parliament are supportive of these views. I mean, I don't think you can get much more moderate than that. And while I acknowledge that some people are concerned about this, it's my view that it's a motion that is respectful, and it's about valuing and accepting people, recognising a guest, and also recognising there is support, but recognising there are different views. On that basis, Madam Temporary Speaker, as a member representing the Greens Party here in this Parliament, our views are obvious. I'm not here to plug those. But what I'm here to say is that this motion is the respectful nature of this motion is something which I think deserves all of our support.